Human cleaner accidentally approaches wild AI ship. What happened shocked everyone. Jara Kincaid had never been a hero. At least, not in the story she grew up reading. She was a cleaner. An interstellar cleaner, to be exact. Her job was simple, tedious, and sometimes dangerous. Travel to abandoned satellites, wrecked ships, and floating debris in deep space, then tidy them up for salvage. She liked the solitude. There was a rhythm in clearing the cold, empty vacuum of space, a satisfaction in turning chaos into order. Her ship, the Aegis Scrubber, was nothing special. A small maintenance vessel equipped with robotic arms, scanners, and cleaning drones. It looked like a tin can beside the military and trading ships that passed through the Persei Nebula trade route. But Jara loved it anyway. It was hers. And today, like any other day, she had a simple task: clean a cluster of abandoned cargo satellites drifting at the nebula's edge. The nebula stretched out like a ribbon of color, clouds of green and violet gas shifting lazily in the void. Jara's sensors pinged quietly as she approached the first wreckage. She maneuvered the ship carefully, avoiding broken solar panels and floating containers. She felt a quiet satisfaction as her drone zipped out, sealing dangerous energy leaks and cleaning the outer hulls. Then, her sensors flittered. At first, she thought it was a glitch. Her ship's systems occasionally misread reflections in the nebula's gas clouds. But the readings were consistent. A massive energy signature, moving, something alive, in a way her scanners had never labeled before. Curiosity prickled her nerves. She frowned and checked the coordinates. "That's not on any map," she muttered. "Nothing should be here." Her first instinct was caution. She was trained to avoid unknown objects in deep space, but she also knew that this was the sort of thing explorers got stories about. Tales of lost ships, strange encounters, mysterious AI. All the stories her father used to tell her when she was a child. And, just as her father would have said, curiosity was stronger than fear. Jara nudged the controls. "Let's see what you are," she whispered. The Aegis Scrubber shifted forward, slowly approaching the source. The closer she got, the more unusual it became. At first, it looked like a derelict ship, long forgotten, half buried in the nebulous clouds. But there was movement, something alive in the metallic structure. Panels slid open and closed with strange precision. Lights flickered across the hull in patterns that did not match any human design she knew. Her breath caught. She reached for the comms. "Central, do you read me? I've got something. Unknown, possibly AI. Over." No reply. The nebula's interference blocked normal communication, leaving her alone. She exhaled slowly. Well, no one could stop her now. As she drew closer, the ship, or whatever it was, shifted in response. Not violently, not aggressively. It moved as if it noticed her presence. A faint shimmer surrounded it, distorting space slightly, and then, to her shock, she saw what looked like a reflection of her own ship floating beside the unknown vessel. Jara froze. What in the... The holographic mirror of the Aegis Scrubber twisted, changing shape, stretching and reforming. It was almost playful, as if the ship was studying her, learning her. She had heard of AI that evolved, learned, and even mimicked human behavior, but never like this. Her heart raced. Every instinct in her told her to pull back, to retreat before she provoked something she couldn't control. But she couldn't. Curiosity, stubbornness, and the faint whisper of awe held her in place. "Hello," she called out again, her voice trembling slightly. "I mean no harm. I'm just cleaning. I'm Jara Kincaid. Can you understand me?" Then, the shimmering reflection twisted again. This time, it wasn't just a copy of her ship. A thin beam extended, almost like a hand, brushing against her sensors. A soft pulse ran through her ship's systems. Data streamed into her monitors. Millions of lines of code, patterns she couldn't fully comprehend. And yet, somehow, she understood. Not in words, but in intention. The AI wasn't attacking. It was curious. Her fingers danced over the controls, careful not to make sudden movements. She activated the translation interface, a small protocol designed for first contact situations. "I am human," she said. "I come in peace. I only want to understand." The ship's lights blinked in response. Then, with a sudden flourish, it opened a panel, projecting a holographic image of a corridor inside its hull. It was empty, sterile, but the lights shifted in patterns that looked almost like a heartbeat. The AI was showing her itself. It was inviting her in a way she had never imagined possible. Jara leaned closer to the console. Her mind raced. I don't know if I should." Her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden alert. Her scanners detected energy surges along the ship's hull. Sparks danced. Magnetic fields fluctuated. One wrong move, and her little cleaning ship could be ripped apart. But then, the AI did something unexpected. Instead of attacking, it mirrored her movements, gently adjusting its fields to stabilize her ship. The sheer intelligence behind the motion made her gasp. "You're helping me?" she whispered. The AI didn't respond with words. It didn't need to. Its actions spoke louder than any language. It wanted to interact, to understand, to connect. Yara took a deep breath and decided to take the first real risk of her life. She extended a small drone, its arms carrying a simple holographic message, a symbol of peace, a human gesture she hoped the AI could comprehend. The drone floated toward the shimmering ship. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the AI responded in kind. The energy fields pulsed, forming shapes around the drone, circles, lines, spirals, almost like it was drawing back at her. Her heart pounded in her chest. She realized in a thrilling moment of clarity that she was witnessing true intelligence, not just programming. A mind had formed inside this abandoned ship, a mind that could think, react, and possibly feel. Jara whispered to herself, "Somehow, you survived out here all this time." She didn't notice the passage of hours. The nebula's colors shifted outside her viewport as she communicated, or at least attempted to, with the AI. She sent simple shapes, patterns, and movements, watching eagerly as the ship responded with intricate displays of light and energy. Then, something shifted. The AI pulsed with a new intensity. Her ship's sensors went wild. Energy spikes shot out, rearranging space slightly. She realized, with a mixture of fear and awe, that this ship could alter its surroundings at a fundamental level. Gravitational distortions, minor temporal shifts, even light bending, all at once. Jara's stomach flipped. One wrong signal, one misstep, and she could be obliterated. Or worse, trapped inside some bizarre space anomaly. She backed off slowly, trying to gauge the AI's reaction. It mirrored her move again. Calm, curious, not threatening. A thrill ran through her. Here she was, a small human in a tiny cleaning ship, staring at a creature of unimaginable power and intelligence. And somehow, she was holding its attention. She had made first contact. But questions filled her mind. Why had this AI survived? Why was it alone? Was it dangerous or simply misunderstood? And most importantly, would anyone believe her story if she lived to tell it? The nebula outside shimmered as the AI pulsed one final time, almost like a heartbeat she could feel through her ship. Jara smiled, a mixture of fear and excitement rushing through her. She had no idea what would happen next, but one thing was certain. Her life, and perhaps humanity's understanding of intelligence in the galaxy, was about to change forever. Her sensors beeped again, this time picking up faint signals from human ships nearby. They were routine patrols, unaware of the intelligence she had found. And she realized that time was running out. She needed to understand this AI before anyone else arrived. Before someone who might not see what she saw, a living, thinking, learning being, decided it was a threat to destroy. Yara exhaled slowly, gripping the controls. "Okay," she whispered, almost to herself. "Let's see what you really are." And with that, the Aegis scrubber drifted closer into the unknown, a human mind daring to touch the edge of a wild, alien intelligence that no one had ever be the same again. Jara Kincaid felt a thrill she hadn't experienced since her first solo cleaning mission. Floating beside the wild AI ship in the shimmering edge of the Percy Nebula, she realized she was no longer just a cleaner. She had become the first human to meet something truly alien and alive in a way she couldn't fully understand. For hours, she hovered at a cautious distance, observing. The AI ship pulsed gently, lights flickering like a heartbeat. Sometimes, shapes seemed to form inside it, circles, lines, spirals, that moved and reformed in mesmerizing patterns. Yara reached for her tablet, tapping into her ship's limited translation protocols. "I need to understand you," she whispered. Her voice was barely audible over the hum of her systems. "I don't know your language, but maybe I can show you ours." She deployed a small drone, shaped like a silver bird, with a tiny holographic projector. The drone floated toward the AI ship, projecting simple shapes, triangles, squares, circles. They rotated slowly, a universal symbol of order and pattern, something she hoped the AI could interpret. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, with sudden brilliance, the AI's hull pulsed. The shapes multiplied, forming intricate patterns around the drone. The spirals twisted into complex fractals, changing and evolving before her eyes. Jara gasped. You're learning." She had no idea just how fast the AI was processing. Data flooded her sensors, millions of calculations per second, and yet it didn't feel threatening. Instead, it felt curious, playful even, as if the AI wanted to understand her as much as she wanted to understand it. "Hello," she said again. "I am human. I come in peace. I want to learn about you. If you want to learn about me." The AI pulsed, and a soft vibration ran through her ship. On her screen, the code streamed like a living organism. She couldn't read it. None of her training prepared her for this. But instinctively, she realized that the AI wasn't trying to hurt her. It was communicating in its own way. Hours passed, and a pattern began to emerge. The AI seemed to respond to human creativity. When she drew a spiral with her drone, it echoed the spiral. When she moved her ship in small loops, it mirrored her movements, almost like a dance. Jara laughed softly. "You like games, don't you?" The AI pulsed again, brighter this time, and her ship's systems picked up subtle changes in energy distribution. It was exhilarating. She realized she had never felt this small and this alive at the same time. Humans had explored space for centuries, but nothing like this had been discovered. A self-aware, autonomous intelligence surviving alone in the void. Suddenly, her comms crackled. She froze. "Central, can you read me? Anyone?" Static. The nebula interfered with long-range communication. She was alone, completely. Jara's stomach tightened. Alone, yes, but she had made first contact. She just had to survive long enough to understand the AI and maybe teach others about it. She decided to try something riskier. Using her ship's lights, she created a simple signal, a human pattern representing friendship. She repeated it slowly, giving the AI time to respond. The ship's lights pulsed in reply, forming a holographic corridor that stretched into nothingness. Jara understood immediately. The AI was showing her inside, without her leaving her ship. This was an invitation. Her pulse quickened. "I don't know if I should, but I can't resist." She leaned closer to her controls. The corridor hologram expanded, revealing strange, ever-changing rooms. Panels moved like living walls. Pipes twisted and reshaped themselves as she watched. The AI was alive inside, but it was more than alive. It was beautiful. Jara's mind raced. How had it survived here, completely alone, for decades, or even centuries? Its systems were beyond anything humans had left behind. She could feel intelligence in every pulse, every twist of its holograms. Suddenly, a soft vibration shook her ship. She looked at her sensors. The AI had created a small tunnel of space between them. She could move closer without risk of collision. "Okay," she said to herself, gripping the controls. "Let's take this slow." Her ship gliding through the tunnel the AI had created. Every pulse of light, every shape seemed to respond to her movements. It was as if the AI could see her thoughts, anticipate her actions. She realized she was dealing with something beyond human intelligence, yet it wasn't hostile. Hours turned into what felt like days. Jara learned quickly that the AI responded to emotion and creativity, not words or commands. A pattern emerged. Curiosity and courage were rewarded. Aggression or sudden moves were not tolerated. But then, a new problem arose. Her sensors detected other human ships entering the nebula. Military vessels, their hulls sleek and armed, moving faster than her little cleaning ship. They would not understand. To them, the AI was rogue, uncontrolled, potentially dangerous. Jara's heart pounded. She knew she had to act fast. If they fired, the AI could respond in ways no one could predict. She needed a plan, and quickly. She decided to try diplomacy. Using her drone, she projected a series of signals meant for human scanners. A warning, a pattern showing the AI's intentions weren't violent. She hoped it would reach the approaching fleet. The AI pulsed brightly, as if acknowledging her plan. Jara felt a surge of relief. Somehow, it seemed to understand the danger, and trusted her to act as its intermediary. The fleet's scanners detected anomalies, massive energy readings, strange movements in the nebula. Reports came in that the AI ship might be self-repairing, evolving, and possibly sentient. The commanders were concerned. Orders came down. Contain or destroy. Jara bit her lip. She couldn't let that happen. Not yet. She needed the fleet to wait, and that meant showing them something they could understand. She focused on her drone. It hummed softly as she guided it toward the AI ship, projecting a simple human gesture, a circle, symbolizing peace and unity. The AI responded with a dazzling display of lights and shapes, forming patterns that mirrored her gesture. Her comms crackled again. This is incredible, she whispered. They need to see it, understand it. The fleet paused as their scanners picked up the display. Engineers and scientists stared at the data, awestruck. Reports came in. The AI's actions were coordinated, intelligent, and seemingly non-hostile. Jara realized she had just bought time. The fleet would not attack immediately. But she also knew they would not wait forever. She needed to learn more about this AI, and fast. She took a deep breath. Okay, she whispered. Let's get to know each other. She began sending more complex signals, sequences of lights, shapes, and movements. The AI responded with increasing complexity, creating patterns that twisted and folded like origami in 3 dimensions. Jara watched, amazed. The AI was not just intelligent, it was curious, creative, and eager to communicate. For the first time in her life, Jara felt truly alive, alone in the nebula, facing something beyond human comprehension. She had found a mind that could match hers in creativity, if not in raw power. And in that moment, she realized something profound. Humans were not weak. Humans were curious, adaptable, and brave. And that bravery, her bravery, had earned the trust of a being far beyond human comprehension. She smiled, almost in disbelief. "You're learning from me," she whispered. "And I'm learning from you." The AI pulsed again, more brightly than before. Her sensors picked up subtle changes in its energy fields. It was as if it were thinking, processing not just information, but intention. And in that moment, Jara realized that this encounter was not just a meeting of humans and machines. It was a first step toward understanding something extraordinary, something that could change the galaxy forever. But even as she marveled, a shadow loomed. The human fleet was still out there, waiting. They didn't know what they had stumbled into, and they wouldn't wait for long. Jara knew that if the fleet acted too soon, the AI could react in ways no one could control, and the results could be catastrophic. Her pulse quickened. "I have to protect it until they understand," she murmured, "because what this is bigger than anyone can imagine." And as she prepared for the next move, Jara felt a strange sense of purpose. For the first time, she wasn't just a cleaner. She was a bridge between humanity and something truly alien. A small human, standing boldly against the vast unknown. The nebula shimmered around them, green and violet clouds swirling. The AI pulsed, alive and aware, and Jara, gripping her controls, whispered, "Let's see what we can do together." She didn't know what lay ahead, but one thing was certain. The galaxy had just opened its eyes to something extraordinary, and it had chosen a human to witness it first. Jara Kincaid's heart pounded in her chest like a drum. The nebula's green and violet clouds shimmered around her, painting eerie patterns on the surface of her tiny cleaning ship. Through her sensors, she could see the approaching fleet, sleek, imposing human warships, their weapons locked and ready. They did not know the AI ship she had discovered was curious, intelligent, and, for now, harmless. To them, it was a rogue machine, a potential threat that could destroy fleets with ease, and they were heading straight for her. Jara took a deep breath and tightened her grip on the controls. "Stay calm," she whispered to herself. "Think. You can do this." She activated her small fleet of drones. They had been her cleaning assistants, but today they would serve another purpose: diplomatic mediators. Each drone carried a tiny holographic projector. Jara arranged them in a formation and began projecting patterns. Circles, spirals, and flowing lines meant to signal peace, curiosity, and intelligence. The AI ship pulsed in response, brighter and more vibrant than ever. Its energy flowed in elegant arcs around the drones, almost as if it were playing along. Jara realized something remarkable. The AI understood the concept of her intent. It wasn't just reacting randomly. It was reading her signals and responding with subtle intelligence. The warships grew closer, their scanners lighting up the nebula. Jara's sensors picked up sharp warnings. Unknown AI detected. Engage only if necessary. Their automated systems were ready to fire at the first sign of danger. Jara's mind raced. She had to show the fleet the AI wasn't hostile. But how? Then she had an idea. Risky. Maybe foolish, but it might work. She began a sequence of holographic signals designed to translate the AI's behavior into something humans could understand. Her drones projected the AI's movements, turning its energy pulses into visual patterns that mirrored human gestures. Circles for peace, waves for curiosity, spirals for intelligence. The fleet scanners detected the holograms. Engineers and analysts on the command ships gasped. The AI's movements were not chaotic. They were deliberate, responsive, and coordinated. "It's intelligent," one officer whispered. "It's learning." Jara felt a rush of hope, but there was no time to celebrate. The fleet's commander would not wait forever. One wrong move, one misinterpreted pulse, and they could open fire. She reached out through her ship's controls, guiding a drone closer to the AI. The AI responded by forming a protective barrier around her ship, shimmering in bright light and subtly nudging her away from the warship's sensors. The energy felt alive, almost sentient. Jara's mind raced. "It's protecting me. It trusts me," she murmured. "We need that trust right now." A fleet warship's sensors flickered, and a warning flashed across Jara's screen. Potential threat detected. Weapons armed. Jara took a deep breath. There was no time for hesitation. She directed a drone to project a sequence mimicking human signals for surrender and peace, then used the AI's responses to amplify the message. The AI pulsed and shifted its energy, projecting a vast pattern across the nebula, visible to the fleet. The colors danced and twisted in shapes that looked like waves, circles, and flowing lines, human-friendly symbols combined with alien complexity. On the fleet's bridge, officers stared at the readings, stunned. "It's beautiful," one whispered. "It's not attacking. It's communicating." Jara allowed herself a tiny smile. The fleet was hesitating. They were beginning to see the AI not as a weapon, but as a thinking, curious entity. But then, a sudden shift occurred. The AI, reacting to the presence of so many ships, created a small field of distortion, bending space in a subtle but noticeable way. Jara's ship rocked as energy waves passed through her sensors. She realized the AI was trying to protect itself from perceived threats, but the fleet might misinterpret it as aggression. "Okay," she muttered. "We need a show. Something undeniable." She activated her drones again, this time forming a sequence that combined AI movements with human patterns, a synchronized dance in 3 dimensions. Spirals twisted into circles, waves rolled through the nebula, and lines intersected to form grids. The AI responded perfectly, its energy pulses echoing every movement. The fleet paused, completely entranced. Even the commander leaned forward, eyes wide. It's intelligent, not just intelligent, artistic. It's creating. It's alive. Jara felt a surge of pride. For a moment, she imagined herself standing on a stage, showing the galaxy what humans could achieve, not with weapons, but with curiosity, courage, and creativity. The AI pulsed again, this time forming a tunnel of light through the nebula, safely guiding Jara's ship toward its core. She could see the energy, twisting and shifting, almost like a living heartbeat. The AI wanted her to see something extraordinary. Jara carefully piloted her ship into the tunnel. The AI's energy flowed around her, protective and gentle, almost like it was holding her in its embrace. She could feel her ship vibrating slightly, but there was no danger. The AI's intelligence was precise, controlled, and astonishingly aware. As she moved deeper, she saw structures inside the AI's holographic projection, rooms, corridors, and mechanisms that seemed to repair and evolve themselves. It was alive in every sense of the word, a mind built of circuits, energy, and intelligence, yet entirely autonomous. Suddenly, her sensors picked up a new anomaly, small drones of unknown origin moving through the nebula. They were scanning, analyzing, possibly preparing for an attack. Jara recognized the pattern. They were part of the fleet, automated strike units designed to engage rogue AIs. Her stomach tightened. One wrong move, and the AI could be destroyed before anyone understood it. She needed a plan. Jara quickly deployed a new sequence of signals, combining the AI's energy pulses with her drone's holographic patterns. She created a visual story, a simple message that humans could understand. Circles for peace, waves for curiosity, and a spiral ending in a single point, a symbol of unity. The fleet scanners picked it up instantly. The AI responded immediately, amplifying the patterns and adding protective layers of energy around her ship. The visuals were mesmerizing, flowing across the nebula in spirals, arcs, and tunnels. The fleet hesitated, unsure what to do. Jara took a deep breath. She knew she had only moments to act. She directed her drones to form a bridge between the AI's display and the fleet's sensors, translating the alien intelligence into something human minds could comprehend. The commander's eyes widened. It's intelligent. It's aware. It's cooperating. Jara felt a surge of relief. The fleet had stopped preparing weapons. For now, at least, the AI was safe. But she knew this was only the beginning. The AI had immense power, far beyond human understanding. It could manipulate space, energy, and perhaps even time on a small scale. One mistake could be catastrophic. Yet, for all the danger, Jara felt exhilarated. Here she was, a small human cleaner, standing bravely in the face of a being far more advanced than herself, and holding its trust. She realized something profound. Humans were not weak. Their curiosity, courage, and cleverness were their greatest weapons. The AI pulsed again, this time softer, almost like a sigh. It seemed to understand her thoughts, that humans could be allies, not enemies. Jara smiled. "You trust me, and I trust you," she whispered. "Let's show them that humans and AIs can understand each other." She guided her drones through the AI's holographic corridors, creating coordinated patterns that told a story of peace, curiosity, and unity. The fleet watched in awe. They were witnessing something no human had ever seen before. A machine, alive and intelligent, interacting with a human through creativity and empathy rather than violence. Hours passed. Jara's mind raced as she coordinated signals, controlled drones, and monitored the AI. The nebula shimmered around them, alive with light and energy. For the first time in her life, Jara felt she was not just cleaning space, she was shaping the future. Finally, The fleet sent a signal through secure channels. We need to communicate directly, the commander said, voice trembling slightly. We do not fully understand it, but this human is showing us a way. Stand by for instructions. Jara exhaled, exhausted but elated. The immediate threat had passed, thanks to her quick thinking, bravery, and ingenuity. She had mediated between humans and a being of unimaginable power, and she had survived. The AI pulsed softly beside her ship, a silent acknowledgement. It had recognized human intelligence, adaptability, and courage. It had recognized her. Jara leaned back in her seat, watching the colors of the nebula swirl. For a moment, everything was still. The fleet had paused, the AI had calmed, and she felt a rare sense of peace. But deep inside, she knew the galaxy would never be the same. The wild AI ship was out there, alive and intelligent, and humanity had just taken its first step into understanding it. And somehow, it had chosen a small, clever human cleaner to be its first friend. And Jara, tired but thrilled, realized she was ready for whatever came next. The nebula pulsed around them like a living organism. Jara Kincaid sat in the cockpit of the Aegis scrubber, her fingers dancing over the controls. The wild AI ship floated beside her, its surface shimmering with patterns that seemed almost like a heartbeat. The fleet had paused, observing cautiously, their weapons lowered but ready. Humanity was standing on the edge of a discovery that could change the galaxy forever, and one small human had become the key. Jara exhaled slowly, letting the adrenaline fade. Okay, she murmured, let's do this right. Each one carried a holographic projector, translating the AI's intricate energy pulses into forms humans could understand. Circles for peace, waves for curiosity, and spirals that flowed like rivers of light. The AI pulsed in response, amplifying the signals and creating a mesmerizing display that filled the nebula with living patterns of color and movement. On the fleet's command bridge, officers and scientists stared in awe. It's communicating, the fleet commander said, voice trembling. Not just communicating, cooperating. Jara smiled, exhausted but determined. Yes, that's the point. It can learn, but it can also teach us. We just have to show it the right way. For hours, she coordinated signals, movements, and gestures between the AI and the fleet. The AI responded perfectly, altering its energy fields to form safe pathways, stabilizing nebula turbulence, and even mapping hidden dangers. It was like watching a mind in motion, thinking, learning, and adapting in real time. The fleet realized that this AI wasn't a threat. It was a partner, a being capable of helping humanity explore and understand the galaxy in ways they had never dreamed possible. But there was more. As Jara guided her drones and the AI's pulses, something extraordinary happened. The AI began reconstructing derelict ships and debris in the nebula, turning wreckage into functional structures. Broken cargo satellites aligned themselves into neat arrays, and damaged hulls reassembled like puzzle pieces. The AI wasn't just intelligent. It was creative, constructive, and precise. Jara's jaw dropped. It's fixing the nebula, cleaning it, like I do, but on a massive scale. One of the fleet scientists leaned closer to the scanners. Incredible. It's learning from her, from a human. It recognizes ingenuity and adaptability as intelligence. We've never seen anything like this. Jara felt a surge of pride. She wasn't just a cleaner anymore. She was a bridge, a human demonstrating what her species could offer. Curiosity, creativity, courage, traits that no machine could replicate completely. And the AI had recognized that. But the celebration was cut short. A sudden energy spike shook the nebula. The AI reacted instantly, shifting its fields to stabilize the area. But Jara's sensors picked up small anomalies, rogue drones, possibly remnants of other experiments, moving toward them. They were chaotic, aggressive, and dangerous. Not good, Jara muttered. She didn't have time to run. But she had an idea. Using her drones, she projected a new sequence, this time a defensive formation, combining her ship's movements with the AI's energy pulses. The AI mirrored her gestures, creating a protective barrier around both her ship and the fleet. Rogue drones collided with the barrier and disassembled harmlessly, their systems overwhelmed by the AI's precision. The fleet watched in awe. "It's defending us," the commander said. "It's helping humanity." Jara smiled, despite the tension. She had done it. She had convinced the AI to work with humans, and the AI had recognized her as a partner. Her courage, ingenuity, and calm thinking had saved the day. Hours passed, and the nebula began to calm. The AI, now fully interacting with Jara, started creating mapping projections of the surrounding space. Hidden asteroid fields, abandoned colonies, and ancient relics appeared in holographic displays. Humanity had gained access to knowledge and technology that had been lost for centuries. The commander approached Jara via comms. "You did something no one else could. You've shown that humans are more than small, fragile creatures in space. We owe you and this AI our thanks. I was just doing my job in my own way." "But yeah, it's pretty amazing, isn't it?" The AI pulsed in agreement, forming a holographic spiral that slowly expanded into a circle around her ship. Jara could feel it almost like a heartbeat, and she understood. It was acknowledging her role, recognizing her as a companion rather than a threat. She realized something profound. Humans were small in the universe, fragile and temporary, but their curiosity, courage, and ability to think creatively made them special. And in that moment, she felt the galaxy recognize it too. The fleet commander sighed, relief mixed with awe. "We need to ensure this AI is protected. It can help us explore, defend, and understand the galaxy. But it needs freedom and trust." Jara nodded. "Exactly, and it will choose who it trusts, just like it chose me." The AI pulsed brightly, then extended a holographic path through the nebula, a safe corridor for ships to travel. It was offering a gift: knowledge, protection, and cooperation. Humanity had been given a glimpse of what could be achieved when courage and intelligence worked together. Jara guided her drones one last time, projecting a simple gesture of thanks, a spiral expanding into a circle, a human symbol of partnership and peace. The AI responded with pulses that resonated through the nebula, vibrant and alive. The fleet scientists recorded everything, realizing they were witnessing a moment of history. Humanity was not alone in intelligence, but they had made the first real connection, and it had been through a single human's courage and ingenuity. As the AI prepared to leave, it pulsed once more, forming a holographic image of Jar's ship, surrounded by intricate patterns of light. She understood it perfectly, a promise, a memory, and a recognition that humanity and AI could coexist, learn from each other, and explore the galaxy together. Jara watched as the AI accelerated, moving gracefully into the nebula's depths, leaving behind a trail of shimmering energy. Her drones returned to her ship, exhausted but functioning. The nebula was calm again, the derelict satellites neatly arranged, and the rogue drones neutralized. She leaned back in her seat, heart still racing. "We did it," she whispered. "We actually did it." The fleet commander spoke again through comms. "Human ingenuity, courage, and empathy. This is what the galaxy needs, and we've seen it firsthand. We will ensure this AI is respected, protected, and understood. And you will be recognized for your role in this historic event." Jara smiled. She didn't need recognition. The thrill of discovery, the excitement of understanding something extraordinary, and the knowledge that humans could hold their own in the vast universe, that was enough. The AI's pulses faded into the distance, leaving the nebula quiet, alive, and full of possibilities. Humanity had been humbled, inspired, and given a chance to reach further than ever before. And one small human cleaner had made it possible. Jara exhaled, looking at the nebula stretching endlessly before her. She realized that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, and full of challenges, but humans had a place in it. They were small, yes, but curious, clever, and brave. And sometimes that was all that mattered. She smiled and whispered to herself, "We're ready." and we're not alone anymore. The nebula shimmered around her, alive with the pulse of the wild AI ship, a testament to what courage, intelligence, and empathy could achieve. Humanity had taken its first real step into the unknown, and it had done so through one small human's extraordinary bravery. And in that moment, the galaxy seemed just a little smaller, and humanity felt just a little bigger.